The climate crisis has sparked a new spirit of collaboration within the packaging industry. Please join me today as I will be talking to representatives of Tetra Pak and Klabin, Brazil's largest paper production company, and how they tackle the sustainability issues in the industry by partnering up. We are depending on innovation to create a sustainable future. And I'm very happy to talk today with two people that also focus on sustainability in the food and beverage packaging industry. With me here I have Francisco Razzolini from Klabin and Carina Rydén Pettersson from Tetra Pak. Hello, how are you today?
Hello, I'm very fine, thank you, and I'm very pleased to be here.
And how about you, Francisco? How are you today?
Hi, we're doing great here, despite all the difficulties we are having with this COVID-19 issues. I think we are trying to carry on and make things happen.
Terrific. Please tell us about what your work entails. And Francisco, we will also need to know a little bit more about Klabin, because I figure most people are more familiar with Tetra Pak than with your company.
Well, Klabin is a Brazilian company with 121 years of history, quite long for the standards on this side of the world. We are located mostly our operations in the southern part of Brazil, using planted forest, cultivated forest to produce pulp and paper to the packaging industry. Myself, I'm Francisco Razzolini. I'm chemical engineering and I have a master's in pulp and paper. And I joined Klabin 35 years ago. And since then, I've been working in several parts of the company, like the operations itself, developments, new projects, and most recently, R&D, innovation, and sustainability.
Thank you, Francisco. And I know that you have met Carina before online, because this is how we work these days, isn't it? Carina, please tell us about what your work entails.
Okay, my name is Carina Rydén Pettersson, and I'm a chemical engineer in the background, and I'm very, very passionate about development, especially about packaging material development. And I would say my 20 years in Tetra Pak have mostly been connected to developing new packaging material solution, both in terms of material as such, but also connected to the supply chain and the converting of the packaging materials.
What would you say the major challenges are facing the packaging industry today?
The major challenge that the industry is facing today is how to create a sustainable packaging. A packaging that relies in products that are renewable and can be recyclable, can be integrated into the economy again in a circular economy thought, and must use less and less resources, must give to the products and goods that is containing good protection, safety.
And that is really something that the challenge that we as an industry need to take on and really drive towards. So that makes why I think it's important, why it's also good to see that innovation for sustainability is on the top of the agenda for the most companies around the world. And it must be, because this is a challenge that we cannot do one company alone. We need to do it as multiple companies together. And that is the challenge we all are facing and we need to address.
So Carina and Francisco, you both talked about the challenges that of course also brings opportunities from an innovation perspective. So Carina, what opportunities do you see ahead from the challenges that we are facing in your industry?
I think there is lots of opportunities in this situation that we are in, and the most critical is that we work to design a new packaging solution that has an improved environmental footprint throughout the value chain. When you talk about the pre-consumption, when you develop the materials, when you consume the packaging, and then when the end-of-life situation. And it's about to really simplifying the material structure, use the materials that is really essential for its objective, and work with renewable sources and secure that the materials has a way to be recycled. And this is really something that I think is possible. And Tetra Pak made a clear commitment towards this when we some month ago released our campaign Go Nature Go Carton, where we will work towards simplifying our packaging material structure and increase the fiber content, which is by far our most valuable source. And we will also secure that we reduce the polymer content in our packaging to the extent where we really need it, where it makes a difference for protecting the food and making seal-tight packaging. So I think we have a great deal of opportunities if we play our cards right in this situation we are in.
Thank you, Carina. And the polymer is the lining, correct, that protects that's sort of the barrier to protect the liquids from seeping out. Is that correct?
The polymer we have to seal the packaging in a correct way, and then we have aluminium foil today as a barrier layer to protect from oxygen and light in practice. So the whole packaging material structure is critical so there are different layers. So the polymer is, yes, both a barrier but also for the sealing purposes.
So what part of the value chain would you say is the most important for this innovation process in terms of sustainability?
I think the whole value chain has to go through a tremendous change, both coming from the raw material components, what we take in as the components, and also how we construct the packaging material. And then if you look at the consumption of it, so we must reduce the waste. And the end start, there must be collection and sorting and ways to recycle the packages, and also try to recover the materials back into the packages where it makes sense.
Looking at the entire industry, what kind of appetite do you see to do these innovations and to really go heavy into sustainability?
I actually see a very strong appetite, and that is very encouraging, I think, because I think that industry is all understanding the need for change, and we all understands that this is not a journey you do by yourself.
How about collaboration? Francisco, from your end, collaboration with Tetra Pak to innovate and to create more solutions. What do you have to say about this?
Well, what we are seeing is that there is all this raising demands from society, from the consumers, the end users, and that needs then to do a lot of collaboration between the companies involved, also with an eye on what the consumers are requesting. What can be done with the existing technologies, and which technologies should we start developing, and increasing, let's say, resources in order to reach better products at the end. Collaboration is then really the main issue when you start this area of innovation, of creation of new things.
Francisco, could you give us an example of a collaboration in this sector from your part?
Yes, it's very interesting. Last year we have a meeting here in Brazil when we are discussing about these sustainability issues and how could we, let's say, make a better product. People started to share thoughts, to raise questions, to brainstorm, and suddenly at the end we come with a brilliant idea for substitution of one of the non-renewables components of the carton board using much more fiber-based material. So that's a point where collaboration, let's say, people understanding each other, talking openly, and trusting that the information is going to be used for the right purpose. That's then is helping to deliver new things, new products, and new materials that will be sustainable and renewable.
That sounds very promising indeed. Would you say that this pressure that we have and also the Sustainable Development Goals could foster more of an attitude of less competition and more more collaboration. What do you say, Carina?
Every company wants to keep on having businesses, keep on having work for their employers, and all these kind of things is of course important. So we need to keep our business, but in the same time we also need to create something that is good for our planet, and where we as industries see there is a very strong need to go together and be less working alone and be protective on my side, but instead work on the collaboration areas. It's a balance, of course, but I definitely think that we have a much more collaborative spirit in the industry today.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. From my perspective, working with sustainability as a journalist and program host, I would see this. I would say this is what I see.